Dictionaries. What are dictionaries? Dictionaries work with key-value pairs. These are two linked values where key is a unique identifier of where we can find the data. The value is the data. So we can do this by starting with the value. So we're going to start our dictionary. Our dictionary is going to be called magic, and you could name it anything you want, but for this example we're using magic. We're going to type in a key. A key is going to be school, so that's our key. And then I'm going to define this key with its value, which is, we're going to do pyromancy. Now the level of this school is going to be 25. We're going to name some spells, and we can create a list here. So now we have 3 keys in this dictionary. Our first key is school, our second one is level, and our third one is spells. And the values of those keys, which they represent, is pyromancy, 25, and fireball infernio. So we got a string as our first value, we have an integer as our second value, and a list as our third value. It doesn't matter what order these are in, I'm just showing that a value can be anything, from a string to an integer, to a list, to a tuple, to a set. It can be anything that you want it to be. And essentially, a key is kind of an alias for the word that it's referring to. A key can essentially be like an index to a beginning of a book, where it shows key words that represent what you're looking for in terms of information. So if we were to write print magic and then in square brackets type in school and run this command, it would bring back the value of this key. If we were to just do print without the square brackets, it would print out every item within our dictionary. If we were to enter a key that doesn't exist, it will return a big error message saying that this is a key error. Sometimes we don't want it to return an error, or maybe we want a custom error to be returned. For this, we would print our dictionary with a get option, and then if we were to type into that same key that doesn't exist and hit play, it would return with none. So if we don't like the default method that it returns of none, then we can do a second argument to get a custom method. So for that, all we would do is put a comma and then add a custom error message. If we were to hit play on this, it's going to check the first one to make sure this key exists, and if it doesn't exist, it's going to print this out. Hit play here, we get a custom error message. If we replace damage with school, which is a valid key, and hit run, then you can see it does not run the custom error message because the check went through and found that this key exists. We can also add keys and values to our definition after we've already written it. So we can add this damage key after we already have the definition written out if we don't want to change the definition, or if we want to write it later on in the script. So now if we were to print this out, damage will be added to the end. Key is printed out as damage, the value is 10, just as we wanted it to be. We can also update already existing keys. So if we wanted to update the school from pyromancy to arcane, we could do it like this. But sometimes you want to update a lot of values and you don't want to do a separate line for all of them. So we could do them all within one line by typing in the dictionary name. We're going to use the update tool and we'll do parentheses and braces together. And we'll type in school, arcane. We're going to add a damage counter to 15 and we're going to update the level to 26. So if we run play now it's just updated some of our keys and values. We can then delete values. There's 2 different ways we can do this. We can do del for delete, type in your dictionary, and in square brackets we can type in the level. So if we were to play this with the print magic, then the level should not be there, and it's been removed, as you can see. Another way we can do this is using the pop. So we can define the value that we want to, so we can find the value that we want, no, not value, key. So we can find the key that we want to pop out, and then type in the dictionary name, and then type in pop to specify the option you want to use, and then we'll type in that key again. And then here if we type in magic, we can also print the level still. So the pop, it just pops the key out of the dictionary, but it doesn't delete it. So that means you can still print it out. So in this output, as you can see, the level has been taken out of the dictionary, but it hasn't been deleted, so we can still print it out. Whereas if we went back and did delete magic level, if now we hit play, now we get an error because level is not defined after this option. So that's the difference between delete and pot. Now let's go over some navigation and discovery commands you can use to explore a Python script. We can do something like print len for length and type in the dictionary name. We can run this to find how many keys we have in the magic dictionary. Here we can see we have 3, and that's correct because we have school, level, and spells. Those are 3 keys. Another print option we can do is print the dictionary name and keys. This will print out all of the keys that we have without the values. If we wanted the values, we can replace keys with values. This will give us all the values in our dictionary. We can print our dictionary and items. This will give us everything. This will give us the keys, the values, the integers, and the lists. And if we wanted to loop through our list, and if we wanted to loop through the key value pairs in our dictionary, we could do something like for key and magic. Now this for loop just basically loops through all of the keys and prints them all out. But in order to loop through the keys and values, we would need the items method to do it, and it would kind of look like this instead. And now each time this loops through, the keys and values have been listed out, and we can see all the items in our dictionary.